It's one of the oldest and most terrifying creatures ever mentioned in human history. A beast so powerful, ancient texts say it cannot be killed by any weapon made by man. Its body can twist through the oceans like a living storm. The Bible calls it Leviathan. Leviathan is described as a real force of chaos, waiting beneath the deep. And what's strange is, it's not alone. Versions of this creature appear in ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and even Norse mythology, long before cultures had any contact with each other. So what exactly is Leviathan? A myth, a memory, or something much more dangerous? This is Secret Origins, and today we dive into the ancient mystery that still haunts the depths of our oceans. Welcome. The story of Leviathan starts in several parts of the Old Testament, most notably in the books of Job, Psalms, and Isaiah. And the descriptions of it are so detailed that you will start to wonder whether the writers are describing something real. Let's start with the book of Job. Here, Leviathan is introduced by God himself. In one of the most intense parts of the story, Job has been suffering and begins to question why God allows pain in the world. God responds, not with direct answers, but with a series of powerful images, and one of the most fearsome was Leviathan. God describes Leviathan as a creature no man can defeat. Its body is covered in thick armor-like scales. Its breath can ignite coals. Its eyes shine like the morning sun. Spears and arrows bounce off of it. It churns the sea like boiling water. Here's a passage from Job 41. Its snorting throws out flashes of light. Its eyes are like the rays of dawn. Flames stream from its mouth. Sparks of fire shoot out. Smoke pours from its nostrils as from a boiling pot over burning reeds. The message is clear. Leviathan is a creature of overwhelming power, something no human could possibly control. Only God has authority over it. And by reminding Job of this, God shows just how small and limited humans are in the face of divine power. In this way, Leviathan becomes a symbol of the chaos that only God can tame. But the story doesn't end there. In the book of Psalms, Leviathan appears again. This time, it's not alive. One psalm praises God for his mighty acts, saying, "It was you who crushed the heads of Leviathan and gave it as food to the creatures of the desert." Here, Leviathan seems to represent a cosmic enemy, something from ancient times that had to be destroyed when the world was being formed. Some scholars believe this reflects an even older tradition, shared by other cultures, where sea monsters were symbols of chaos that had to be overcome by the gods. Then, in the book of Isaiah, Leviathan shows up one more time. But now, the story shifts into the future, and we will talk about this part a little later. Many early Jewish texts treated Leviathan as something very real. In the Midrash and Talmud, Leviathan is described as a sea monster so large that only one male was allowed to live. According to tradition, God killed the female Leviathan early on, to prevent the species from multiplying, because if it had, the world could not survive. The meat of the female was then preserved, to be served at a great feast at the end of time. This idea of an apocalyptic feast is fascinating. It suggests that Leviathan isn't just a monster. It's a part of a much bigger cosmic plan. But what about those other mythologies I mentioned? It turns out, Leviathan has cousins all over the ancient world. In ancient Mesopotamia, the story of the creation of the world, known as the Enuma Elish, features a monstrous sea goddess named Tiamat. She is a giant, dragon-like creature who represents the primeval chaos of the ocean. In the story, the younger gods have to battle her to bring order to the universe. The god Marduk finally defeats Tiamat, splitting her body in two to create the heavens and the earth. Sound familiar? A divine being defeating a chaos monster from the sea to create the world. It's a theme that echoes the story from the book of Psalms, where God crushes the heads of Leviathan. Then, if we travel to ancient Egypt, we find Apep, a giant serpent who lives in the underworld and tries to swallow the sun god Ra every single night. Apep represents darkness and chaos, and the daily battle between Ra and Apep symbolized a struggle between order and destruction. Every morning, when the sun rises, it means Ra has won again. The imagery of a giant sea serpent battling a god is a powerful parallel to the Leviathan myths. And it doesn't stop there. In Norse mythology, we have Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent. This is a sea serpent so enormous that it encircles the entire world, biting its own tail. Jormungandr is the sworn enemy of the thunder god, Thor. Norse prophecies say that at Ragnarok, the end of the world, Thor and Jormungandr will fight one last epic battle. Thor will succeed in killing the serpent, but he will be poisoned by its venom and will die soon after. Once again, we see a god fighting a giant sea monster as part of a world-ending event. The similarities are too strong to be a coincidence. So how did all these ancient, disconnected cultures come up with such similar stories? There are a few theories. One idea is that these myths all stem from a common, even older proto-myth that spread as early humans migrated across the globe. This would be a shared cultural memory of a time when the world was seen as a chaotic and dangerous place, with the sea being the ultimate symbol of that chaos. Another theory is that these stories are based on real encounters with giant sea creatures. Imagine an ancient sailor witnessing a colossal whale breaching the surface, or a giant squid with its tentacles thrashing in a storm. Without a scientific explanation, it would be easy to interpret such a sight as a divine monster. The ocean was, and still is, a vast and mysterious place. It's not hard to believe that ancient people populated its unknown depths with monsters that embodied their fears. But there's also a deeper, symbolic meaning. In many of these stories, the sea monster isn't just a physical threat. It represents something much larger. It's the embodiment of the untamed, unpredictable forces of nature. Storms, earthquakes, floods, all of these could be seen as the wrath of a creature like Leviathan. By telling stories about gods who could defeat these monsters, ancient people were creating a framework for understanding and coping with a world that often felt hostile and out of their control. It was a way of saying that even in the face of total chaos, there is a higher power that can bring order. Now, let's return to the Bible, specifically to the book of Isaiah. Here, Leviathan takes on a new role not as a creature from the past, but as a figure in a future prophecy. Isaiah 27 says, "In that day the Lord will punish with his sword his fierce, great, and powerful sword Leviathan, the gliding serpent, Leviathan the coiling serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea." This passage is about the end times, a day of judgment when God will finally defeat all evil. Here, Leviathan represents the enemies of Israel, the oppressive empires that threaten God's people. By promising to slay Leviathan, the prophecy offers hope that one day, all tyranny and chaos will be brought to an end, and a new era of peace will begin. Leviathan becomes a symbol of ultimate evil, and its final defeat is a promise of ultimate redemption. This apocalyptic role is what connects Leviathan to the book of Revelation in the New Testament. While the name Leviathan isn't used, Revelation describes a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, who is identified as Satan. This dragon rises from the sea and wages war against God and his people. Many scholars see this dragon as a direct continuation of the Leviathan imagery from the Old Testament. Both are multi-headed sea monsters, both represent cosmic evil, and both are destined to be defeated by God in a final, climactic battle. So, over thousands of years, the meaning of Leviathan has evolved. It began as a powerful, untamable creature of nature, a symbol of God's immense power. It then became a representation of the primordial chaos that was defeated at creation. And finally, it transformed into an apocalyptic symbol of evil that will be destroyed at the end of time. But the question remains, was Leviathan ever real? Could a creature like this actually exist? While a fire-breathing sea dragon is probably not swimming in our oceans, the descriptions might have been inspired by real animals. The crushing power of a large whale, the armored scales of a crocodile, the terrifying appearance of a giant squid, these could have contributed to the legend. The extinct Basilosaurus, a prehistoric whale that could grow up to 60 feet long, had a serpentine body and a mouth full of sharp teeth. An ancient mariner encountering such a beast would have a story to tell for the rest of their life. In the end, whether Leviathan was a real creature, a myth, or a symbol, its story tells us something profound about the human experience. It speaks to our ancient fear of the unknown, our struggle to find order in a chaotic world, and our enduring hope for a future where all monsters, both literal and metaphorical, are finally overcome. The legend of Leviathan is a reminder that some of the greatest mysteries are not out in the cosmos, but right here, in the dark, unexplored depths of our own planet, and in the ancient stories we tell. What do you think? Is Leviathan a lost species, a powerful metaphor, or something else entirely? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for diving into this mystery with us today. If you enjoyed this journey into the deep, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more secret origins. See you next time.